Okay. Don't know why YouTube was being goofy like that, but for some reason it was stuck. Would not let me start the stream. But after closing it and coming back in, now I can start. Alright. Testing. Can you say something real fast to make sure my audio is coming through? Or your audio is coming through? Uh-oh, did I lose audio? Or are you not there? Hello? Did you mute your audio on your end? Because I'm not seeing it. I'm not hearing anything in my headset or seeing anything on the stream itself. Alright, so while you fix... I think that's technical difficulty on your end, not mine. Let's see. Say something. Because I'm not getting anything. Yeah, I'm not seeing it on the stream, or... Let me double check this.
Want to say, oh my god, thank God that's not
like I say. Yeah, so my audio is working. I'm not sure if that was something on your end. Maybe you unplugged your headset, or... Hello? Maybe I need to close out of Hangouts and then come back in. Alright. Stay in the call. Maybe it's... Maybe, Oh, you're not supposed to see that just yet. Let me make sure that you're not... Yeah. Yeah, whatever. Alright, say something now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, so I don't know why I lost audio there. Let's go back to the video call. There you go. Okay, now see if I can say something real fast.
Right,
okay, don't know what's going on. Having all kinds of issues starting up the stream. Alright. Now it looks like we're good. We are live. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Everything was going crazy. YouTube wouldn't let me stream, and then now, when I did get that working, Hangouts decided to stop. Okay, so let's just get started here. I got a couple of things on the docket to talk about. Where did I put them first on my agenda? Where did you go? Okay. Actually, I got these kind of out of order in the description. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the... okay, Trump's meme. Maybe I should pull that one up. Trump... yeah, I think I'm just going to pull this video up. Because this is something Trump tweeted out, and then everybody kind of went up in hysterics over it. The audio really doesn't matter, so if you, I mean, you can watch the stream if you want, Sinister, but I'm gonna enable that real fast. So this is the video that Trump tweeted out, and then everybody was, all the Democrats and all of them started acting like this is Trump threatening to never leave office. Because it's, you know, it's making fun of the Times cover, and it's, you know, Trump 44, 48, and then it just playing, with the Hall of the Mountain King. And, just... Oh. What's going on? Is that my computer, or is that the video itself lagging a bit? Yeah. Anyway, it just keeps going up, so you get the joke. But Trump tweeted this out, and people were like, "Oh, he's threatening to never leave office. This is absolutely sinister."
They don't get the joke.
No, they don't. Not at all.
All
Oh,
he's gotta do is stand there, and he'll just be reelected.
they don't understand it as it. Why can I not minimize this? All right. Yeah. Anyway, so Trump tweeted that out. Everybody went crazy. It's the end of the world. Oh, he's threatening to stay forever. He doesn't believe in democracy. Just absolutely insane reactions to that obvious joke, laughing at them for making those claims prior to him posting that. It's a response to the Times cover where they were afraid that he wouldn't leave office if he lost the election in 2020. So he's like, so the joke is, yeah, okay, whatever. I guess I'm president for life, and not just for life, but for forever. It goes, it's like the year 6000. We're still gonna have a President Trump. It's the insanity of their claim, putting it on display, and it is reductio ad absurdum. That's why that's an effective strategy. Like, yeah, this is what you guys are pretending is going to be the case. No, they were saying that he wouldn't accept the outcome of the election if Hillary won. They've been saying that the entire time he's been running, and you're like, what about him has made anyone think that, oh, after 2024, after he wins his 2 terms, he's going to go for a 3rd term and a 4th term and a 5th? No. Nobody is going to vote for him if he tries to run for a 3rd time, because it's against the Constitution right now. You only get 2 terms. The only other way he could get a 3rd term is if he runs as someone's vice president, and then the president gets assassinated. Or dies of natural causes, but yeah, right. Mm-hmm. That's the only possible way that he could get more than 1 term. Or one more term.
On some of this stuff, but this will probably be towards the end of the stream, because it also ties in some of the other points you're going to bring up.
Mm-hmm.
But just some foreshadowing.
All right. So that was a great video by Count Duncan, I think is the guy's name.
That's Count Dankula's brother.
No, but it's kind of funny that they both kind of, I guess, yeah, Dankula tweets his stuff. So actually, I don't even think Trump linked to the original poster. The other thing about that is they keep claiming Trump is linking to doctored videos or edited video. I'm like, what? Like, because when because the same guy is the same guy who did the Biden sniffing Biden's hair. Oh. and Trump retweeted that. And people are like, oh, this is an edited video. It's doctored. And you're like, he's tweeting doctored videos. I'm like, what?
Biden's got a twin brother that likes old men.
Yeah, it's the same guy is creating these joke videos, and Trump likes the guy and is apparently following him and tweets out his stuff. And they're like, oh, I can't believe he tweeted another doctored video. I'm like, what? Did you think that was an actual Times cover? Like, who in their right minds think this is anything other than a joke? So that is, yeah, the pure insanity on their part when thinking that it's anything other than a joke, or at least they act like it's something other than a joke. Part of me questions, like, yeah, they've got to be smart enough to understand it's a joke, and they're just acting hysterical because they know that plays to their user base or whatever. It plays to their crowd to pretend, oh, he's absolutely evil and I'm outraged at this. How dare he? Because, well, a lot of times what we're seeing in media outlets and on news programs, it's outrage culture to sell whatever they're selling. They get more clicks when they outrage, and this is something the quartering has been completely, repeatedly pointing out is, yeah, a lot of these times these people don't actually believe what they're saying. They're just trying to stir up crap because it gets viewers to their site. It's clickbaity stuff. They're like, oh, we need something that, like, what's something more recent, that, like, oh, this is ridiculous. Toy Story 4, someone wrote an article saying that Toy Story 4 wasn't inclusive enough. It didn't have enough minority main characters and didn't have any disabled people. And they're like, somebody wrote an entire article about that, and he's like, this is... Why would anybody care about this thing in a movie about toys? They don't have races. There aren't white cowboys and they're toys. There's green army men. What race is that? There's there's plush figures. There's a dinosaur. They're freaking the dinosaur. That's obviously the black character. No, they're toys. But somebody wrote an article about this, and in the article they're like, yeah, this is not a big deal. And he's like, this entire purpose of this content is to get people to react to this, to see how stupid it is, how crazy it is. You got the people on one side who will read it because they're like, oh yeah, we need more diversification, more representation. Yeah, you've got that crowd, but more likely it's the crowd that are like, what? This is absolute BS, that are clicking on it, reading it, like, oh, I can't believe somebody wrote this, and then actually producing content debunking the nonsense. It's this weird cycle of that's how they get people to view their stuff. The other thing is Teen Vogue, for some reason. This is it wasn't planned, but it's something that's been... Teen Vogue is writing articles about sex work and why it's not so bad. Also, Teen Vogue is...
About the Twitch streamers?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of stuff?
What? No, this is I'm not sure about... Yeah, I'm not sure about Twitch streamers. No, they were talking about, like, actual sex work. Like, people who... Like the Bunny Ranch and stuff like that. Actual people who are prostitutes, not just people who are cam whores.
Why is that in a teen magazine at all?
I don't know. The other thing, so Teen Vogue came out with an article about sex work being, need to be destigmatized. I don't know if that was the exact word they used, but talking about sex work should be, we're looking at it wrong. The actual author of the article is talking about comparing it to being a doctor. Like, oh yeah, well, doctors see people naked. How is that any different from a sex worker seeing you naked? Anyway. Then they can't...
They can do what they want, and if that's the profession they choose, whatever. Yeah. They're adults. But that content doesn't belong in a teen magazine.
Yes, that's exactly the point.
Newsweek or something. Just
that's it. So that's exactly the point. It's like, why is that in a teen magazine? I'm in complete agreement. I'm like, yeah, sex work, if two consenting adults, fine. Legalize it. I've got no problem with the Bunny Ranch. The Bunny Ranch exists in not in Vegas, but in Reno, Nevada. The no spread of STDs. The ladies get to choose their clients. They're protected. They don't have to pay money to a pimp and all that sort of thing. They're not being held prisoner because they're no problem with that on a legal level. Huge problems with that on a moral level, but
I was going to point that out, and like just because I'd say they're free to choose that doesn't mean that they can do that as a career. Later decide, hey, I want to start a family, and they're not going to be stigmatized for it.
That's
a big blemish when you're
there are moral implications for that lifestyle choice. But from a legal standpoint, should be allowed because that's I should say. Ethically, there's nothing wrong with it. Morally, as in you're talking about the best good or the most good for yourself, yes, there's a huge problem with that. Anyway,
well, it depends on if your moral is based off of like religious morals or if you're just as long as you're not hurting anything.
There's statistics about how many different sexual partners you can have and how that affects your happiness and how that affects your overall well-being. The number of sexual partners you have, increased likelihood of divorce, increased likelihood of being depressed, medical problems. Yeah, so it's statistically, doesn't make sense to be in that kind of lifestyle. Anyway, completely separate topic, but yeah, shouldn't be in a teen magazine. The other topic that was in there, they were talking about anal sex and the best practices for safe anal sex in a teen magazine. You're like,
that stuff is actually being pushed out to middle schoolers.
Why?
That's part of their education now. They're no longer trying to say abstinence. They're trying to say alternative you don't get pregnant, you don't have to spend money on an abortion.
Ugh. All right.
No longer restrict yourselves. It's
just do it in the butt.
Let's try and do the way the least likely to get caught or have any sort of repercussions.
Yeah, do it in the butt so you can rip somebody's anal cavity.
Yeah. I think late middle school, and I know definitely in high school, that's starting to be taught on the West Coast.
Oh,
that's the East Coast. I've seen some other channels where they're showing the actual material.
Yeah, and
some places it's as low as elementary school.
Yeah, and the coup de grace for me is there was an article about sex magic. Not the phrase sex magic, but actual tantric sex. They're talking. They mention.
I thought you said magic.
Yeah, magic. Sex magic.
Like wizards.
Like occult. They mention the occult. They mention brujas. They mention. they talk about putting your vibrator out under the moonlight. Like, what? They're, like, actively supporting occultist practices in the teen magazine. Yeah, Roaming Millennial came out with a video talking about that, but this has been, I found out about beforehand. I'm like, what the, why? Like, sex magic as in Aleister Crowley. As in devout Satanist who wrote books about this. The spirit cooking, right? That was going around the news 2 years ago. Spirit cooking. Oh, that's an occultist practice based on sex magic. Using bodily fluids and sexual activity for magical powers. And then that's being advertised as a good thing in a teen magazine. Ridiculous. So half of me wonders if it's just because the people writing it think, oh yeah, this is norm, because that's what they're into. But the other part of me is, well, the magazine's probably dying, not getting, I don't know if, maybe there's all of these YouTube makeup celebrities and
I think a lot of
that are
stuff is dying.
Yeah, it's
Paper media, newspapers,
yeah.
Gone out the window.
Yeah, they're probably losing subscriber bases and they're not making enough money, so they're like, oh, well, let's just do outrageous articles to, hey, then at least people will buy it to, at least people will look at it because we're just so outrageous. I think that's going to continue, and you're starting to see crazier and crazier things in these articles, or in these magazines, just because, hey, they're looking for attention, and any attention, even if it's negative, is better than just having it closed down and everybody losing their job. But I think it's kind of inevitable, and to me that screams more like the death tolls of a magazine. They're like, grasping for anything that they can do to stay afloat, but ultimately I think it's going to be useless. So that's part of me wonders if these Democrats are just latching onto these things and doing fake outrage for the similar things. They know that there's a group that will pay attention if they scream loud and hysterically. Like, Trump's literally Hitler. Okay, that's what their crowd wants, so that's what they give them.
But most of the country doesn't think that way. Or at least I would hope most of the country isn't that gullible and easily duped into just fake outrage.
And that's reflected by the ratings as well, because Fox is still number one. Fox is still number one in viewership and in advertiser dollars. Fox is, and they're almost bigger than all the rest of them combined, as far as how many viewers they get on our average, and how much advertising dollars they can generate based on their viewership. That's the sort of thing is. It's like CNN and all these MSNBC, they're doing the outrage culture, and that appeals to their current fan base, but they're basically fighting each other for the scraps of that crazy.
Wouldn't that have clicked in their heads?
Maybe they should actually just start reporting the actual news instead of catering to this smaller. No one ever accuses them of being bright or good at their jobs. So it seems like they're catering to this ever-shrinking category of people who are still in this outrage culture. Because all the rest of them are like, yeah, I gave you a chance, I gave you 2 years, you're still putting out this nonsense. I don't like Fox, but at least I'm getting the news there. And they're shifting over. Or they're going completely cutting the cable like most of us, and just getting all their news content from online sources, which, again, Tim Pool, I disagree with his assessments on a lot of things. But when I want actual news, he's a really good source for it, because he He gets the news as it comes through, just delivers it. He gives his opinions on it sometimes. Sometimes it's completely wrong. I completely disagree with him. But at least I understand. I'm like, oh, he's got his sources there. I can go and look at directly to the sources itself. I can see what exactly he's talking about. Yeah, this is relevant stuff. It's not... He does have his biases, but as far as getting the actual news, it's a good source because he's getting his news from both sides, not just one side. So Philip DeFranco, he doesn't give his opinions on stuff so much, but he does talk about the news of the day. Just kind of spits it out there and like, hey, this is what's going on. So that's a source I
Classifying him as alt-right?
Yeah. There was an article. Yeah, there was an article of Philly D, Milton Friedman, and they called them all alt-right radicals.
It was in the New York Times.
Like, no, but like Philip DeFranco is like middle of the road as you can get. He doesn't. He actively like caters his videos to not give his opinions on almost every topic. The only one, yeah.
But he tries to stay as dead center as.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the only time he chimes in is when it's like the daddy of five thing where he's like, yeah, everybody knows this is something that's wrong. Or it's...
The parents are doing the fake...
Yeah, the fake pranks and basically child abuse for views. Yeah. That's the only thing, and you're like, everybody on both sides was like, yeah, dude, I don't think that anybody was actually on the daddy of five's defense channel. Or they're like, oh yeah, what? There's nothing wrong with it. No. That's a pretty clear-cut situation where Philip DeFranco doesn't lose anything for coming out on a side. But issues like politics or certain channels getting taken down, or he broadcasts them and doesn't take a stand on it one way or another, because it's like, yeah, if he does take a stand, he's going to lose followers. He's going to isolate his audience. So I'm kind of glad he doesn't take a stand on a lot of these issues, because he's got a large audience and he's delivering the news as it comes in. It's more of what we expect from these traditional mainstream media. It's like, yeah, I occasionally you'll offer your opinion, but mostly it's just what's going on. What are the main things that are occurring around the world today? So that's another good news source. But also, even though I can't stand Vox for the most part and Vice for the most part, it's still go to those extreme sources as well, because sometimes they're talking about things that aren't on Fox or aren't on Steven Crowder or aren't in these other places. It's just kind of, for the most part though, people on the right do go to those sources and then make rebuttal videos. Like Freedom Tunes also does that sort of thing. It's going to those types of videos and
yeah, Vox, the show on HBO is shut, or not Vox, Vice News.
Yeah,
that shut down.
Yeah, they lost their HBO.
Now peddling their wares somewhere else.
Yeah. Oh, and so that was another thing that I found out about this through Paul Joseph Watson. So we'll kind of use this to transition into the Democratic debate, because the guy from the Young Turks, the Hassan Piker guy, he's now defending himself because people are calling him a sexist for basically insulting Tulsi Gabbard. And you're like, oh, how dare you say that about a woman? He's like, I have been on here insulting everybody. I disagree with all of these Democrats. I don't think that any of them go far enough. And here you are calling me out for insulting this woman and calling me a sexist for that. F you. And I was like, dude, yeah, what did you expect? That's the culture you created.
What was that guy's name? Jimmy Dore?
Yeah. No, he's the one that left, yeah.
At least he was smart enough. Pretty soon that's all going to start collapsing and eating themselves.
Oh yeah, it's already started. They're kind of like, dude, we can't win. You make fun of everybody across the board, and people are like, oh, I can't believe you said that about a woman. He's like, I said that about everybody. I talked about how all of them were wrong.
Yeah, but I mean, if we get to a GOP debate, and there's a woman senator or rep or somebody, that's wanting to run for a potential presidential seat, they'll probably be bashing her left and right, and there won't be a single thing about that being
sexist. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what they did to, what was her name? The CEO of Compaq. I can't remember her name. Wasn't... something with an F. I have to look that up. I can't.
I'll look that up.
She was actually one of the more promising candidates.
Compact?
Yeah. Well, just look up female presidential candidate in 2016 for Republicans. Fiorino. Carly Fiorino. That was the name. Yes. They had no problem bashing her appearance, no problem bashing her dress. You know, oh, I can't believe she's wearing that sort of thing. No problem bashing everything about her. Yeah, absolutely. There was no, because she's a woman. So same thing with Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Same thing with what's the other lady? The one who led Trump's campaign.
Wait, Sarah's.
No, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She was the press secretary. The other lady, who's the first female to lead a successful president. Yeah. Yeah, but they bash her appearance. They're like, oh, I can't believe she must be sleeping with the president. I mean, all these kinds of claims. Nothing. Yeah, no, like, oh, well, she's a woman, so we should support her, kind of thing. And like, she did a great job as press secretary. And they're like, oh, I can't believe she's defending Trump. I'm like, what? That's what a press secretary's job is. It's the entire role. Yeah, anyway, and what's the other? Kellyanne Conway bashed her completely, and I'm like, yeah, but if she was a Democrat, they would have been like, oh, I can't believe they'd said this. It must be because she's a woman, because that's exactly the defense card they pull for Ilhan Omar and AOC. Oh, you're only saying that she's an idiot because she's a woman. How sexist of you. Okay, the claim was that she had sex with her biological brother. She married him, and apparently they have kids together. Yeah, the fact that she's a woman, I guess that the only relevance that has to the situation is the fact that she has kids. That, like, if it was a dude who had sex with his sister, people would be like, what's going on there? And if it was a guy who was as airheaded as AOC, same thing. But, man, they're like, oh, no, the only reason you criticize her is because she's a woman. Whatever. Alright, but, okay, so, yeah, so the Hassan Piker was criticizing Democrats for not being socialist enough for him, and then they're like, oh, he's a sexist, so now he's out there being like, what the hell? I can't win with you people.
Socialist enough. I'm not sure are they just doing this so they can go to an extreme position, or do they actually think that
the Young Turk people seem to
free stuff?
Yeah, I think the Young
print money, we should all be rolling in dough and have free stuff. Is that how they think it works?
So as far as Democrat candidates, some of them are just doing it because they're like, yeah, we're promising people because that's what you do to get elected. You can see it, like, Beto seems to be in that camp. Booker seems to be there. Warren seems to be there. Bernie Sanders seems to actually believe it. So he's not just promising. Yeah. So the people who seem like Warren, Booker, Beto, and was it Klobuchar? How do you pronounce her name? Klobuchar?
Amy.
Yeah.
Is it Amy?
Yeah. Yeah. They are just, they're doing whatever to be elected. They're gonna do whatever, like, they don't have a stance. They're just saying what they think people want to hear.
Well, I think she might be a little more moderate than just flat out free.
Yeah. Tulsi Gabbard seems to believe what she's stating. That's why, like, she seems to take a political stance. Like, so that's the thing with Booker and with Beto and even Buttigieg. They have you can see previous parts where they were talking about one thing and now they've flipped and now they're talking about a completely something. So it's like, yeah, they're just doing whatever to get elected. They don't really have any principled stance. Tulsi Gabbard seems to be pretty staunch on her beliefs. Hasn't really shifted, even when the public sway of her party is saying, oh, how dare you do that? You need to be on this side. she's like taking a stand and be like, no, this is what we need to do. So, don't agree with all of her policies, but at least I can respect that. But even she thinks that we can do free college for... okay. Because that's not going to bankrupt us faster than we're already headed towards bankruptcy.
It's not just the bankruptcy thing. It's the fact if everyone's going to college, there's no difference between someone who has a bachelor's degree and a high schooler, because everyone's just going to have it.
Everybody's going to have it. It's going to be the new ground floor, and it's just going to waste 8 more years of somebody's life.
So now everyone's going to have to get post-college credit in some other whatever curriculum to show I'm smarter and I'm more accomplished and I'm willing to put forward the effort than everybody else who went to free college.
Yeah.
It's just dropping the top down. It never brings the bottom up.
Yeah, and so at least Buttigieg did say... Buttigieg? Man, I can never remember the actual pronunciation. I just keep thinking Buttgig.
Buttigieg?
Buttigieg. Yeah, that's the actual... Or it might be Buttigieg, but Buttigieg...
They butcher his name, but it's all perfect. I keep forgetting which one.
Yeah, I think Buttigieg is the actual pronunciation. Anyway, because even he was talking about, well, it doesn't quite make sense to give out college for free. Yeah, so I was like, okay, so at least there's some kind of principled on some things. They are thinking about things, but Warren just... How do, fellow kids? That's...
Coming up. People are now saying that we need to at least discuss the idea of beginning a discussion on reparations. But that's the same thing we're going to have if college is free. What about everyone who has paid off their student?
Oh, yeah.
Will they be reimbursed? What if I graduated 2 years before this was put into effect? Is that just a giant government middle finger saying, sucks to be you, you should have dropped out and then joined in later?
Yeah, well, the other thing...
Is that system later? Should I start signing up for college now, take all the courses, build up huge debt, and just say, I don't care if I have $200,000 in debt, the government's not going to cover it. I'll let you read these in, ancient Greek literature or whatever.
Yeah, and somebody was talking about student loan forgiveness, and they were talking about, like, yes, we're going to give a 6 months cutoff, and in 6 months from there on, all tuitions will be free. And I forget who wrote this, but it was it was on Twitter. They were like, yeah, so 3 months before the cutoff, you're going to see 10 tuitions, please.
Yeah.
Oh, I can get 10 degrees, all right. I'm going to get this, like, $500,000 worth of debt. And then 3 months, it's gone.
I like 2 masters and a PhD. Thank you. And a bachelor on the side.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna be in college for 30 years. Because it's all on the government's dime. Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So the free college is gonna be terrible, but the tuition forgiveness, oh, dude, yeah, that's an immediate bankruptcy. That is a, like, we could stagger along with free college degree from here on out, because other countries have staggered along based on that. But the entire student loan forgiveness, no, that'd be you're like, oh well, our national debt just quadrupled in 1 year.
But if college becomes free, wouldn't it then be almost like it's mandatory to go to primary school?
Yeah.
And if you're through 12th, you have to go. It's the limit.
And
you don't, you can be considered not a child neglect.
Yeah. And then a high school diploma, good luck getting a job without one. That's why they have GEDs.
Yeah. So that's already entry level into the workforce. It's just getting your GED or high school diploma.
Yeah.
And for most people, that's all you need. That's good enough to get your foot in the door, start looking.
Or at least it used to be. And then they had the federally guaranteed student loans. And that's when you started to see an explosion in the amount of associate's degrees. And so now the associates has become the new de facto standard, where, oh, this guy's gotten a high school degree, oh, but that guy's got an associate's. All right, we're going with the associate's guy. And it became,
me, except for I had to pay for my degree.
Yeah.
And then the market was saturated. Everyone had an associate's degree.
And now we're seeing a market where bachelors are flooding the market. and bachelor's has become the new ground floor for a lot of entry-level positions. Which bachelor's should be middle of the road. So it used to be high school diploma was an entry level, associates was somebody like intermediate, then a bachelor's was somebody like okay, and then a master's like yeah, this guy is this guy's leadership, he's management. This is, but for some reason,
about this, the more that they are handing out loans for college, the more debt people are racking up, and the more they say everyone should just go to college, even if you don't know what to go for, just go to college. This is actually making bottom-tier jobs worth less because they still pay the same. It's the same amount of work.
Yeah, because they can't afford to pay you more than that.
In debt to get a $12 an hour job.
Yeah, it's because with a job, the employer's not going to pay you more than what you produce for the company.
What doesn't make sense is like Seattle and I think New York is trying to pass a $15 minimum wage.
Yeah.
I tried to get a job as an overnight tape backup guy at Edward Jones. It required a bachelor's degree and it paid $12.
Yeah, and you're like...
Meaning I can sit on my butt and go work at McDonald's and make more than a tech can with a bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
It's completely flipped stuff upside down, and now jobs are worthless that are supposed to have an education because you can get paid just the same for a job that requires zero education.
Yeah.
None of this is helping.
The other thing is you're going to see the cost of living go up because, hey, if you're the employer and you got to pay $15 for somebody to flip a burger, we're not making enough money at our burger joint to warrant $15. All right, jack up the prices of our products until we can pay for that $15 wage.
Right, AOC's right. We need a living wage.
yeah, especially in Congress where they make over six figures already. That's not enough.
I'm only making 8 figures. I can't get dinner.
Yeah. Hasn't even been on the job 6 months, and she's already lost any regard of money that she may have had before joining Congress. Asking for a raise, but also saying that it's not enough. And I'm like, what? How much were you making as a bartender? If you're making a bartender and you're barely making ends meet, and then you run for office, and now you're making over 6 figures, you should be like, you got to be going to the bank thinking, yes, I won the lottery, sort of thing. But now she's like, oh, that's not enough. And I'm like, do you not remember a couple months ago where you were a bartender?
That's because normal people, average people, like you and I, have to work ourselves from the bottom up.
Yeah.
We start off with nothing. You know, our parents weren't rich at all. We grew up in poverty, and it wasn't until we were
like in our teens,
we finally hit middle class, barely. So we've been working from the ground up. We understand what it means to be broke. We understand what it means to budget your stuff out, to appreciate what you've got. You know, what actual bargain shopping is, why you got to check prices on labels and say, well, I guess I'm going with the off-brand suit because I'm not paying 75 cents for this suit. You know, we understand what that is. She actually grew up in a decent amount of money because her dad
upper middle class or possibly
grew up in the nice area of the Bronx.
No, outside of the Bronx.
Or just on the outside, the upper class area.
Yeah, it claims the Bronx, although she was living in a completely different neighborhood. That's the ritzy part of New York.
They lost all that money because her father passed away and they blew it.
Yeah.
So now her mom is a house
maid
or something like that, and she had to go work at a bar. So now she's got enough money to get herself back up to the social status she was, but she's thinking, this is normal level. I'm a senator, or I'm a House rep. I work in the government for Congress. I should be getting paid a lot more than this. So she was already privileged and spoiled before she got there.
Yeah, I would.
Intermediate down period, or intermittent down period.
For most people in that situation, that would be the reality check. I mean, like, oh, this is how the real world is for most people. Oh, okay, this is why I gotta actually pay attention about this sort of thing. She didn't learn the lesson. All right.
No, got a lucky break. Got cast as a congressperson. And then got the job and hired on, and now she's complaining because $170,000 a year is not enough.
Yeah.
That's over 3 times my paycheck. And she seems to have lost millions, if not billions, already just for New York, being one of the anti-Amazon advocate, and obviously one of the main reasons they decided to back out because they didn't want to have to deal with it.
Yeah, lost 20,000 jobs.
Made a laughing stock of the Democrat side of Congress with her Green New Deal. Because like 5 people in word supported it, everyone else not a single positive vote because they all realized this is a pile of cow farts.
Yeah.
It's
But she did redeem them because she cried in front of a fence. So all is forgiven from the Democrats.
no,
you saw those, right?
The what?
The photos of her standing in front of a fence crying, and it's all staged. It was a PR stunt. Nobody can even declare. Nobody can even tell if that fence is actually on the border or where that is.
I'm pretty sure they just pasted her head on top of Sarah Connor. It looks like the scene from Terminator 2 where she walked up to the playground. I thought that's what it was at first. Screaming, ah! This kid's on the playground.
Oh yeah, so it was I think it was the Mark Dice video where he's got the clips of her at the fence interspliced with as scenes from actually inside one of those concentration camps where kids are playing soccer and they're watching movies and playing video games, and she's like, oh, she's sitting there.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the best situation. It'd be better if they weren't there, but it's definitely not.
It's like it's 10 steps up from where they came from.
Yeah.
Be like, maybe she should look at Mexico and be like, oh, I'm crying about Mexico because the entire country is a concentration camp. The entire country is worse than our concentration camps in the United States. Wait, they actually feed the kids there?
So she sees this stuff, and her first thought is not, we need more money so we can provide better facilities and a faster process to say, are they an actual asylum seeker, or do they have a legitimate pathway into citizenship, or do we simply say, hey, can't come in right now, sorry, you got to wait in line? Do we have a better process, more money we can put to get that streamlined? Instead, she just wants to have no money going towards it. So that's worse.
That's the other thing. She's blaming Trump for these facilities that are, it's like, oh, I can't believe they're underfunded and they're not providing for the people there. And then it's on their table to be like, okay, well, if you think they're underfunded, here's a bill to fund those. And it's something like $5 billion that the Border Patrol and ICE is asking for these facilities. And they're like, nah, no thank you. We don't want to actually fund them. We just want to use them as a PR stunt to blame Trump for something that's our responsibility.
But something else that makes no sense is, I was watching a video, you know how there's private funding going on for border walls? Like at least some semi-permanent barriers.
Yep.
So they've already got a couple of them.
Yeah.
Like a half mile near, I can't remember what town that is.
Yeah, and Trump is building parts of the wall using the military budget.
But they're making some really good progress.
Yeah.
And so I was watching a video on that, so I think it was at Flecka's Talks or something. I don't remember his exact name of his channel. But he was just kind of interviewing some of the construction workers and the local people that live around there that are also helping, pitching in to build it. And they said they had traffic. Sometimes it'd be 100 or 200 people a day just running across. They'd see it. Their stuff was getting stolen. There's people who threatened his daughter, his dog, his family. And he's like, they're just running through. I bought a dinner tent, gone in 4 hours. Didn't even last a day. And he's like, now it's gone down to 0. Nobody comes through here because there's a big wall right there.
Yeah.
And then so someone put in the comments that this is all illegal. They're going to get prosecuted, that because of their digging and making the wall stuff, they've hit some sort of some reservoirs for dumping toxins and whatever.
What?
Leak into the rivers and contaminate the Texas waters. So I did about 2 minutes of research on Google. Texas has always had polluted rivers and waters for years.
But the other thing is aqueduct. You're talking, okay, so when they do fracking, they frack like 50 feet down. That's still 100 feet away from anything approaching an aqueduct or water aquifer. Okay, so wait, you're telling me these guys are digging these fence posts further down than what we use for fracking. What?
But I'm guessing it was just a troll guy because he kept saying, I put all my evidence in here, I got my sources, you guys just don't want to read. Not a single link, no source, just him yelling. So I was like, here's 3 sources that say you're full of crap. They've already had
how far down?
Helping in the river, and then a guy posted after, and he's like, well, fine, but why is it that local citizens are wanting to drop off toothpaste, toiletries, and help out at these concentration camps, and they're not allowed to donate anything? And somebody posted right back because they're not allowed to accept it. It's a government facility. They can't accept private citizen stuff. It has to be funded by government. And then they posted an article and said, here you go. The law.
Really? They can't accept donations? That's weird.
So regular citizens are wanting to help.
Yeah.
Trump is wanting to put money there so ICE and the border security guys can have proper storage areas and, detention facilities to house all these people coming across. But just because the way the laws are written, it's a government facility, you can take nothing in from civilians.
Yeah, and the other part of that is, so the amount of money that they're asking for these border facilities, like, well, isn't that the exact kind of same money they were asking to build a wall across, and then you'd have a fraction of those people coming through and being in these facilities?
Oh yeah, it would be like 2% of what.
Yeah.
Held in certain detention centers.
So the money they're asking for the almost $5 billion for these centers, I don't know if that is an annual fee or if that's like it sounds like it might be a one-time fee to get the facilities back up, or up to meet the demand, but there's still going to be an ongoing cost of keeping those facilities up and running and supplying them with medical resources, supplying them. The wall is a one-time purchase.
But it's cheaper than they anticipated. So these videos that are privately funded, they put up, I don't know how much of a wall, but they did that with a couple of million, not billion, and they said it already meets all the standards that the government was looking for. They've got fiber going through for all of the security cameras. It's all set up. It's all guarded. It's got sound systems, so it's got an alert system when people get near proximity sensors.
Yeah, I was about to say, you might want to turn your camera off again.
Oh yeah, they can get on a speaker system and blast out a warning anywhere along these walls and say, hey, you're approaching the United States border, whatever. It's all built in. Everything's there.
All right. Yeah, and I should have had my screen as the main. I forgot about that too. I wasn't tracking it. Oh well. Yeah, but it's ridiculous how much they're willing to. So they're willing to use this as a talking point against Trump, even though it's entirely Congress's job to fund this or not fund this. And they're not funding it, and they're blaming it on Trump. It's going to be cheaper to build a wall. You're going to have a lot less people in these concentration camps that are separating children from families. And they're like, okay, we build a wall. That solves both problems. That's what he wants. It's what you want, apparently. It's going to solve your issue.
But everything that's being done right now was set up by Democrat policies.
Oh, yeah.
It was enacted under Clinton.
Yeah, and all the photos they're showing.
It deported a lot more people so far than Trump's even close to.
Yeah, all of the photos that these Democrats keep continually broadcasting, they were all from when Obama was in charge of them. The videos and all that. Nobody is broadcasting the stuff that is current because when Candace Owens went to one of these, she filmed it and I was like, dude, that place is like a community center. It's like better than a community center that I had on my bases that I was stationed at when I was in the Air Force.
I
was like, dude, that place looks awesome.
I was in the Marines. That was better than the base I was stationed at.
Oh yeah. Oh dude, yeah. Yeah.
We own troops worse than illegal immigrants.
Yeah. The facilities they had were I mean, I'm sure there's other facilities that aren't as nice, but I was like, yeah, the only video footage that we currently have of it's all like, wow, this place is actually really great. This place is better than most summer camps that we send our kids to.
Right,
like,
so this is kind of the question or thing I was wondering about earlier, right? I understand that there's people that are using this to push an agenda, that are kind of just wanting to be extremely radical to get the views, the clicks, the tweets, the likes, what have you, the media attention. But how many people are actually believe this? Like, do you think AOC is just doing this for the likes? To me, she seems a bit radicalized, believing that this is the way things are. She's told, hey, look at these pictures, and instantly in her brain she equates it to concentration camps, and then just sticks with it. Is it to further her political career, or is she just a young, naive activist that actually believes all this garbage?
So you can tell when it's her being naive and an activist, and when she's being fed scripts. So what she talked about on her
in her apartment,
live
feed and says something dumb, that's just her being naive.
Yes.
And then she has to back it up.
And so when she's in front of Congress, you can see this complete shift in her demeanor, where it looks like she's reading off of a script, and probably she is, reading off of notes or whatever. Complete change in tone, seems more assured of what she's saying is true, even when it's not. And you're like, wait a minute, where'd she get that? Where is she learning that? That's not even remotely true. You can easily debunk that and pull up multiple sources. But she's saying it with sure, like, this is definitely what's going on, this is definitely the situation sort of thing. And then when she's talking in a more casual tone, or in interviews, when she, it's like, okay, so it's one thing to say something and be wrong about it, because, hey, maybe she's misinformed. That's where she's in, talking in a more professional setting. You're like, yeah, she's probably just misinformed. There you can see the coaching of the Justice Democrats and all that sort of thing. But then when she's on her own, people are like, because apparently she's charismatic. I don't see it. All I see is kind of a blithering idiot the entire time. But when she's doing the more candid, casual things that Warren has tried to mimic and failed epically about, but at least she comes off as being authentic, whereas Warren comes off as pandering. She comes off as authentic, but authentically idiotic.
I mean, so what is the point of pushing this narrative if nobody actually believes it?
Well, I think AOC believes it. She seems to be like the diehard, like, It's
an attempt by leftist, older Democrats who can see that this younger generation is gullible and is very enthusiastic about this, and they can just be spoon-fed all this garbage. So they're just trying to get their group of puppets.
Yeah.
Just to push, basically, by old puppet masters saying we need to get our new army or next wave of drones, or next wave of dummies.
Yeah, she's a useful idiot, right? She believes what they're telling her, and they're telling her all the things that they want to push.
Into a bleeding heart situation.
Yeah. And they're using her to sell their message because she does come off as authentic. Now, had they tried to use Booker or Buttigieg or Warren, the message people would have seen. People see right through that. Even people in the Democrats are kind of like, just get these guys out of here. These guys don't have a shot. Get them out of here. Why are they even in Congress? Why is Booker and Warren even in Congress?
It's so stupid. Spartacus comment, you can see in his eyes, he's like excited, like someone start yelling at me right now.
Yeah. Though I think even staunch Democrats were like, no, these.
Congress, I will take full consequence. He's looking around, right? Somebody, are you gonna expel me?
Immediately, he was kind of like, yeah, but whatever. You've been authorized to release those.
That 4 hours ago. So please be quiet.
So, I think out of what happened after last night's debate, I didn't see the whole thing. I've only seen bits and pieces of it, but out of it, I think this presidential campaign is actually going to be the death of the political careers for Booker and Warren. I hope that's the case. I think they're going, but unfortunately, I think that's good because they're going to be replaced by AOC 2.0 in their district. Because Booker and Warren come off as pandering and inauthentic, the Justice Democrats is probably going to find like, oh, somebody who actually believes the message, and then they can just feed them their idiocy and their talking points, and it'll come across, and people are like, oh, hey, I like the sound of this Democrat. At least she's believable, and she stands for what she. Yeah. It's gonna be, well, I mean, maybe it's not AOC 2.0, but maybe it'll be a dude who's the same kind of airhead, staunch believer in the radical agenda.
Probably Beto too.
Yeah. Yeah, Beto is one of the Justice Democrat pawns, although he's not getting any kind of like.
He's no longer a senator. He got beat
out. Yeah, he's not winning. No, I don't think he was ever a senator. He was trying to get this. He was trying to go against Senator Cruz, and just got stomped. Yeah, he was trying to.
For this last election.
No, unless he was like unless he was a Texas only senator. He was trying to be a federal senator. He might have been in the.
He's the 16th congressional district, so he's the House of Reps, not a senator.
Cruz?
He was a Texas representative for their 16th district. So same
he was trying to switch from representative to senator because he was trying to take Cruz's spot.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
But
so now he's nothing.
I don't know if he's still a rep.
No.
It says to 2019. I don't know, but
okay.
This,
wait, so he's maybe he is a rep, although he hasn't been getting. Has he done anything? Like I'm saying, that might be just in Texas, not in DC.
Yeah, he's a Texas representative.
Yeah, in the state of Texas only, not in DC's Congress, right? It's the Texas legislature, right? Not the
congressional district in the United States House of Representatives.
Okay, I guess he is. And has he done anything there? Because nobody ever heard of him before he started trying to take Cruz's spot, and then was jumping on the hoods of cars and up on desks and yeah. Apparently he's got a fan base, but he hasn't been able to turn that into anything. I guess maybe he's a House of Representatives. Or he is a representative, but
originally I think people saw him as the cool, fresh-faced hipster type guy, someone who's relatable and trendy and whatnot.
And Beto, and he speaks Spanish.
1 or 2 years, he's just come across as extremely pandering and a big liar.
Yeah,
everything he does is staged. His whole arm movements are obviously supposed to mimic Barack Obama, except for he's taking it to like Slinky Man.
Wacky inflatable tube man, yeah.
Constantly having to stand up on things and yell and wave his arms around, and he doesn't even say anything important. Like nothing to even get fed up about or get on fire about. It's just blah 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 blah.
Yeah. So as idiotic as AOC is, at least she talks about actual policies and actual subjects. What has Beto talked about? Like it's mostly just kind of. Yeah, yes we can sort of thing, just mantras. Like nothing of substance.
He's a pandering guy. He did that interview, or what was it, a magazine shoot for something, and then later went on The View and apologized for it because it might have been demeaning and showing too much toxic masculinity or something.
And then was it him or was it Swalwell who said, yeah, I know enough to get at... No, I think that was Swalwell. I'm a white guy, but I know when to get out of the way and let somebody else speak. They're
That's what you like. Do that right now, please.
just let anybody else speak for the rest of your campaign, because you're not winning. You're not.
Who was I listening to? They were talking about the ratings for all of the Democrat parties so far on the DNC. Like, I think Swalwell's actually negative points. I don't know how you do that, but.
Yeah, so I didn't see the whole thing, but I do know that Gabbard won out over the night, overall, like when they did the exit polls and that sort of thing.
It's probably from the stuff near in the second half of the debate.
Yeah.
I was expecting something better from her, but during the first question they asked her, and we had a brief discussion on that, I think it was over tax rates. I don't remember exactly what the first question was they asked her, but as soon as they did that, she's like, I was in the U.S. military for such and such years. I served in these wars. Went on this big long tangent about how she was in the military and served. And then when she stopped, they're like, well, could you please answer the question? And I was like, come on, lady. I've heard some of your stuff. You know, I don't agree with all of your left-leaning policies, but it seemed you had a brain. So it was just they had a planned introduction, and because there's so many people, there wasn't enough time to do introductions. So they stopped in the questions. They're like, well, let me introduce my platform now.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't the only one that made stupid stuff, comments like that near the beginning. They were all just trying to jump in, ignoring the questions, and just trying to put their whole platform out. Say, well, here's me. Take a look at... It was like a stupid American Idol show or something. I don't know what this was.
Yeah.
I've not really seen a debate like that.
So, out of all of them that are currently running, only 4 of them seem to be relevant to me. Gabbard, Yang, Biden, and Sanders. The rest of them are all just kind of...
I think
they're just attention hot. I don't think they're going to get...
At the beginning of the debate, at least just debate-wise, I don't agree with anything Warren says. She's extremely pandering. But she did start off strong and actually answering questions, and then after about the first 2 questions she answered, she just, like, disappeared. I guess she had put all her info out and decided, well, I'm done for the night. I'm going to go get me a beer. You want a beer?
Oh, thanks. Thank you for being here. in our house.
So I don't think Tulsi Gabbard's really going to get anywhere.
No,
She just doesn't have the support behind her.
No, doesn't have the support of the media. It seems like they're mostly trying to keep her pretty quiet. Same thing with Yang. But out of the 4, those are the only 4 who seem to distinguish themselves out of the rest of the candidates. Like the rest of them they're interchangeable. They're.
Well, I've got my money on Biden. I think Warren is stealing too much of Bernie's show.
No, as far as who I think, I agree. I think Biden's going to get the nomination and then lose pretty horrifically.
Because he's already starting to pander and change his message. Instead of just being good old Joe, he's starting to swing too far to the left and become good old psycho, creepy, progressive Joe, which is even worse than where he was. I mean...
So, I think Gabbard would actually give Trump a run, at least have a fighting chance against Trump. I don't think Yang would, although out of all the candidates that are Democrats, his is the political platform I would more likely agree with. Although he's
just the center out of everybody.
Yeah.
Gabbard is a second, following close to him. I think she's got a bit more charisma, and I like how she speaks. She's got a bold presence.
Yeah.
Yang, I don't know.
He's a little too meek. Probably not going to catch on with not going to impress anybody.
Charisma, but Yang has no real backing other than people like his UBI message.
Yeah.
And Gabbard, the media is not behind her.
Yeah.
So no one's going to know who she is unless they're actually watching these debates and paying any attention. So everyone's going to say, Biden? No, he used to be a president under Obama. That's what's going to get him in.
Yeah. It's the name recognition. They're going to... And so Sanders wouldn't have a chance. Yang wouldn't have a chance versus Trump. I think Gabbard would actually put up... I don't think she would win against Trump, but I think she would actually put up decent numbers, and then they would run her again the next year. But Biden, I think, is ultimately going to get the nomination, and it's going to be a landslide.
Is if Tulsi Gabbard went up against Trump, if she kept her cool and actually just delivered her message, Trump would wind up putting his foot in his mouth and saying some horrible stuff against her.
Yep.
She would be his biggest threat this race.
Yeah. And then you're also talking about Democrats, where they ran with the Clinton campaign of "I'm with her." There'd be the people voting, "Oh, we need finally time for a woman to be in charge." Also, she's a minority. she's actually, aside from a couple of missteps or gaffes during the debate, really intelligent from what she's from other
segment. But she's very but as long as it's efficient, at least from what I'm hearing. She's tired of being stuck overseas. She's tired of seeing all these useless conflicts and wars.
Yeah.
But she understands what it means to have a strong military.
Yeah.
Which is actually a lot of, it's a fairly conservative stance.
Yes.
Well, yeah, non-warmongering.
So I think she's got more mass appeal if people.
Because the country's a bit torn right now with the whole thing going on with Iran.
Mm-hmm.
Trump dropped the Iran deal, said, wiping our hands, we're done with this. Don't trust you guys.
Yeah.
And now a year later, they're starting to attack oil tankers and shot our drone out of the
supposedly, the oil tanker thing, I saw that, and I'm like, grainy footage, which really, that's totally legitimate in
years ago.
totally legitimate in our modern technology where you can get better video footage on your phone. Alright. So the grainy footage that doesn't show anything. And like, what, okay? What exactly, that's the smoking gun you guys have that you're willing to release, CIA? Maybe if this was the 80s, people would buy into that. That doesn't prove anything, it's just a boat. And,
however,
yeah. So there was that. So there's the alleged mining and attacking our boats, and then there's shooting down a drone. Yeah.
So Trump was saying that he's surrounded by warmongers. They're all, chomping at the bit. We gotta go take care of this right now. And it seems like they were almost in a place where they were starting a mission to do something, some sort of repercussion, and then Trump called it off.
Yeah.
So I'm glad he did. I'm tired of this up in the Middle East.
Yeah, and the retaliation was
not being able to get his cabinet in check and saying, cut it out. Don't come to me unless you've got some real footage, unless you've got a real reason our troops are in danger, people are getting kidnapped or taken hostage or killed, then we're going to put our foot down and right up their rear end.
Yeah.
But don't come to me with this stuff and say we need to take some action. Because he needs to have a stance. Are we pulling our troops out of the Middle East? Or do we still have a reason to be there? Pick a side, stand on it. So I think in that area, if she were to go up against him, she would have a stronger presence and a stronger platform on which to base, because she's very anti-aggression unless it's necessary. And she's got the experience in the military. She's been in there for, 14 or 16 years or something. So I think she would be their best candidate. And she checks all their intersectional boxes, but...
Checks all their intersectional boxes. She's also in the student loan forgiveness, so she's like, hey, free stuff. That all the people who would be behind Bernie Sanders for that sort of thing, like, because I think the UBI is slightly more logical, and at least the way Andrew Yang presents it, I'm like, yeah, I can see the arguments for it. I ultimately disagree with that, but I think that is more... a more rational position to take than these, hey, free stuff. But I don't think that's going to register or get him any traction with the Democratic Party, because it is too rational. They want the free stuff. Yeah. So she's anti-war, which appeals to people on both sides of the aisle, both conservatives and and liberals, or maybe I should say, both. It would appeal to moderate Republicans as well as moderate Democrats, is the anti-war stance. The free stuff, that appeals to a lot of the Democratic audience. So I think she could potentially swing some votes to Trump, but I think ultimately she would lose to Trump in 2020, but she would have enough of a run for them to run her again in 2024.
No, if they fully backed her and started pushing her on the media, that was their media darling. Everybody else. They said, Biden, get out of the way, too old, sorry. Done. They pushed her full force. I think she would have a shot.
Yeah. If she had complete backing from the Democrats, if she had full media support in the same way that they gave it to Clinton, then it would be probably close. But she's not going to get to that point. They're not going to put any force behind her. They're actually, for some reason, pushing Biden, which It seems like they're pushing Biden and Warren as their picks, and I'm like,
you can tell by the way they talk,
yeah,
the way they change their talking points. Or someone like her, she's left-leaning. She understands a lot of the core Democrat platforms, but she doesn't seem like a pawn.
Yeah.
What she believes. So
and that's why they won't put any. Yeah, they can't risk her being in charge and then not doing what they want.
Because I'm under the impression or theory, belief that a lot of Trump supporters, he's got about half the country that are Trump supporters.
Yeah.
But I think a good portion of them aren't diehard Trump fans. They just don't see any other person that is looking out for the country and for their benefit. They see a bunch of grandstanding, lunatic clown people saying, "Hey, I want my shot. It's my turn." Yeah. I know that's the main reason I bothered voting for Trump. Before him, I didn't vote for Obama's 2 terms. I gave up after George W. Bush. Voted him in once, and I was like, well, that clown didn't really accomplish a whole lot. And I don't like anybody else, so I'm just done voting. I gave up until it was Hillary and Trump. I really didn't want her in, so I do support a lot of stuff Trump has done, but there's also not supportive. I think there's a good part of the country that is in the same boat where they're glad that Trump is looking out for their interests, but they also see the weird tweets and the stupid horse face battles and all that stuff that shouldn't be near a president.
Yeah, and there is that smoking gun that we haven't gotten to yet, so I'm going to go ahead and play a bit of this clip. So, I guess, do I need a setup for this? No, I think I'm just going to play this. So, you may not recognize this person, but, alright, Lise, she looks slightly different in this than her more recent appearances. Oh. Okay.
At the store, nice hair done. Not me. I like getting up at noon.
Alright, let's see.
People get down and depressed. Oh, and I scream. The secret to the advice count everything. Those
okay, wait. Here we go. Let me. Sorry.
Who's taught me everything. Those are the people who can't read a stack of Eugene letters without learning more than reading Shakespeare.
What? Oh.
You want to see some old Ask Eugene. All these are Ask Eugene, Ask Eugene, Ask Eugene.
Yeah.
I have every single letter that's ever been sent to me. I have shopping bags full of actual stationery with letters. This man has given his wife a $30,000 engagement ring. He wants her to give him a $6,000 watch. Well, she did, but it wasn't enough. Because then he wanted a Rolex. How she's handled this is she's had an affair with somebody at the office. The questions have remained.
Yeah.
They want love. They want to be
so,
6. They want their children to do well. They want to have a purpose in life. They want those same things, and that has never changed.
Okay.
The answer is
this.
That's the
but
lady.
yeah.
You just find out what they want to do, and then you tell them to do it.
That's the part where I was like, okay, she's been a advice columnist for 25 years. That's her advice, is telling people to do what they want to do. What? Like, that's... And she hasn't got, like... That's terrible advice. That is the absolute worst advice you can give somebody. People are gonna have their lives ruined. Like, if you see Dr. Phil and that sort of thing, or Tony Robbins, when they give advice, it's like, no, what you want to do is something crazy that's ultimately gonna be bad for you. This is what you should do, not what you want to do. Her entire column is nothing but telling people, oh, hey, you wanted to have an affair? Alright, here's your go-ahead. Here's the green light.
I would also say, if people are asking what to do, it's because they don't fully know what to do. So saying do what you want to doesn't make any sense. If they already wanted, if they knew that and just wanted to do this one thing, they would have never asked. They would just
there's more to that video, which I was like, okay, it's kind of, this is her describing herself, not in an interview trying to sell her new book and sort of thing. This is from 2017. But watching that full clip, you're like, this lady is out of her freaking gourd. She painted her trees and rocks in a stream. Like, she painted her yard for no reason.
Yeah.
And the thing, she talks about a bunch of other crazy things, and she's like, oh yeah, other people have kids. Who wants that? And I'm like, the majority of people want a family and kids. Only crazy cat ladies want to live a life like you live.
Self-centered people.
Yeah.
People who their own lives matter more than what else.
Yeah, extremely narcissistic. Based on that one particular interview or that one video clip.
Most people understand their life's going to end at some point and would like to carry on a legacy. Would like to pass information on to somebody else. That's the whole point of a family and children and humans procreating and existing.
Yeah. So
that information on.
So that was a video that was from 2017 from the magazine that she writes for called Elle. Guess how many views it's got? 16,000. That's it. From Nationwide magazine, their video talking about. I was like, wait, I saw those video clips, and I'm looking through the comments. Most of the people who watched it and who know about, they all found out about her because she came out with an accusation against Trump. Nobody knows who she is. Nobody cares who she was before that. Yeah. So she's a crazy lady. Nobody cares who she is or what her actual opinion is. They only apparently write into her advice column so she can tell them what they want to hear. Those are people writing in because they're like, all right, give me the green light. I'm just looking for somebody to back me up on this bad play. Should I sell my house and spend bet all the money on black at Vegas? Well, obviously that's what you want to do. Otherwise, you wouldn't have wrote it in the Elle magazine. All right, go ahead. That's what she does. And she says a bunch of crazy stuff in that. And what makes me wonder is, like, all the people who are inviting her on for interviews, like Anderson Cooper, did they not investigate who this lady was before inviting her on? I feel like, had they seen some of this...
I don't think investigative journalism actually exists anymore in mainstream media.
Yeah, I don't think they vetted anything, because had they...
If this person has a story, just... like a crazy lady with Kavanaugh. How many interviews did she go on before people were finally starting to scratch their head and say, I don't know.
No, this lady's,
Why would you go past one party where this happened to you?
Yeah.
You were at 10 and this happened multiple times?
Mm-hmm.
You're an idiot.
Yeah. So had they done their due diligence and actually looked into it and saw this official video from Elle, they'd been like, yeah, this lady's probably not all together upstairs, probably not a actual or a credible witness or a credible source for this sort of thing. So the other thing is she was on Anderson Cooper, and he was asking her questions, and in that interview she actually said there was penetration involved, and he asked her, he's like, well, that if you're saying he penetrated you, that is rape. And she's like, oh, I don't like to use that word that you just used. I was like...
That's the definition. That's
because...
what it is.
Because, so and Anderson Cooper correctly identified, other accusations have been made about Trump. None of them have been rape. All of them have been sexual assault, unwanted advancement, sexual harassment, things along those lines. Rape is a new one. And no one else has gone that far, but what she is claiming happened, and she describes the incident where he cornered her in apparently the empty department store of a popular chain.
Was it Nordberg's?
Yeah, I don't know the name.
One of the higher floors, and it was completely empty with no staff, and the dressing rooms were unlocked, which she even said herself that never happens.
Yeah.
And it was just empty, standing there looking at some sort of slinky... some sort of
lingerie or something? Yeah.
Like, why would Trump have that there in the first place? Why?
Yeah.
None
so
of that makes any sense.
So no one can corroborate her story.
This was like, there was nobody on that floor. That seems a little weird.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I know. Normally it's busy, but nope, nobody on the whole floor.
Which she said this was 20 years ago. Which 20 years ago, there would have been security cameras This is a major department store.
Stores for decades now.
Yeah,
Back in the
I would assume there would be. Maybe those tapes got deleted, but there should be someone who could go back to those tapes and find this particular incident. I don't know if that's. It didn't happen, obviously.
4 years ago is 99.
Yeah.
Of course they had security cameras.
Security cameras were the norm. The question is whether they kept the backup footage for that long.
Yeah, that I don't know.
That's a. But someone would have been able to verify this. Had she come out immediately? And so it's the other thing she says in the interview is she called one of her friends and laughed about the incident. Now, I can understand is the when something bizarre or out of the this kind of the shock sort of thing where someone can have a unnatural reaction, whereas laughing would be a defense mechanism sort of thing. But she's describing the incident after the fact, and she's not stating that. She's saying it was funny. Like, her explanation now about the incident, she's kind of passing it off like, yeah, it's just kind of casual rape. And then the part where Anderson had to cut commercial, and she said that most people think of rape as sexy. I mean, I am... It's... No. That's...
Yeah. I don't know. None of that makes sense.
Yeah, none of that makes sense. Her perspective is...
Why was nobody, not a single employee on that whole floor?
Yeah, not a single employee, not a single customer in this very busy department store.
The whole floor was empty. That never...
Unlocked dressing rooms when... People know that it's the norm for these. You have to go and get a cashier or somebody who works there to unlock the dressing room.
Their job is to wait there by the dressing room.
Yeah, to make sure you're not shoplifting. If nobody's there, nobody's around, you're just taking clothes and you're just shoving them in your dress and you're just walking out the store. That's the entire purpose.
To make sure people aren't going in there and doing exactly what she's describing.
Yeah.
That's their job, and they have a permanent person near all the fitting rooms.
Yeah, and then the thing is, like, okay, if she was in the dressing room, somebody would have been like, whoa, Trump, you're not allowed in there with her. One person at a time.
I mean, even Walmart has dressing room attendants. It's not a new concept, and there's no way there's going to be a whole floor there that's empty.
And the other weird thing is people are talking about this as 1990s. It's like, wait, do people confuse the 1990s with the 1960s?
Yes.
Because that was not the norm in 1990. It was not the norm for some guy to meet a woman at a department store, start talking about lingerie, and then try to rape her in the changing room. Like 60s, 60s and 70s, something along those lines. Okay, that was kind of the norm of the culture, like based on.
Mr. Reagan was right. She was watching
the Law and Order SVU.
That was, and then National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation came on. And then he got to that part where, it's a tidbit nipple in here. I mean, and that's why it was a funny situation. Because it's a comedy. Then she fell asleep.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so for anybody who might watch this who isn't familiar, Mr. Reagan has a video about this where he's talking about, there was an episode of Law and Order SVU where a victim describes a situation exactly like this, where it's a department store and he corners her in there.
Department store.
Yeah. The same exact department store, exact same setup, yeah.
In the dressing room, got pinned in there was no one else around. That's where she got it from.
Yeah. So the other thing is Trump talked about this. So Trump denied the allegations, so they never met the lady, this is all BS, and she's just trying to sell books, and yeah, that's...
He said she's not my type.
Oh, that's the thing that Anderson Cooper and all these leftists have been keying up on the, she's not your type, as if that makes her immune from... Like, no. It's she's not his type, and, more importantly, didn't happen. The she's not his type is support for the it didn't happen.
It means even if he would have had inclinations to do that with someone else, it wouldn't have been her. That's
yes. Yes, it is a support for the never happened. It is not if it was the only thing he said, then it'd be like, oh yeah, well normally I would rape, but she's not my type. No, it was I didn't.
even with that one statement, it's implied this could have never happened with her because she's not my type. That's what that statement means.
Yeah. So it was. He said 3 different things about these. Like the situation never happened. She's just trying to sell books, and she's not even my type. That's okay.
That's
That's
a typical guy response, and that's most definitely a Trump response.
yes.
But yeah, it's very easy to understand. That just means no. That's a big hell no.
Yeah. And yeah, and the other stuff is like she's been like there's other examples of her like crazy, just on full display. There's crazy statements, things that she's been talking about. That like, who reacts like that? Or, and the other thing is,
A narcissist.
she says she has the dress with potential evidence to support her claim. The mayor has said that he would kind of make this top priority. The mayor of New York. The other thing is, she claims that it would violate the statute of limitations, so it's no longer prosecutable. Although that's not the case. There is no statute of limitations. There's a statute of limitations on sexual assault. No statute of limitations when it comes to rape, and that is retroactive. That means it's not like, oh, well, at the time of the incident, there was a 15-year statute of limitations. No, it's doesn't matter. At any time in the past that it happens, there is no longer... Yeah.
When the trial or investigation goes on past 15, 20 years, it's kind of dead.
And if she kept the dress and never wore it again, more than likely there would be DNA evidence on this to support the claim. I don't know.
Never dry clean, never washed it.
Yes, that was never dry clean, never wash it, never turned it into a medallion. What? Is that a thing that women do? They take a dress and they turn it into some other article of clothing? Like, put it in a necklace?
On Anderson. She didn't say it was a dress. She said it was like a bodysuit.
It was like a dress coat or something like that.
She called it a slinky gray see-through bodysuit.
No, that was the article that they were looking at in the store that she was going to go try on. But she was talking about what she was wearing at the time was like a dress coat or something like. Anyway, the article of clothing she was talking about, she apparently kept.
Yeah, why?
I don't know why.
You're keeping it for evidence. You knew something was wrong. Should have reported it right away.
But then not going to turn that evidence over. Not going to file an official charge. Not going to prosecute any of the... And one of the other things she said, oh, that would be a disservice to all of the women who are raped and who actually suffer during the rape, and it would be a disservice to them, all the women being raped at the border. I'm like...
I'm going to call BS because this
yeah.
Excellent segue. This sounds like all the BS from the Jussie Smollett case where none of the facts added up.
Yeah.
And it sounded like made up out of his rear. They
Yeah.
just released video footage of when the cops went to his apartment.
Yeah, and he's still wearing the noose.
Hilarious.
Oh, I haven't actually watched the... I know that the video is out there. I haven't gotten a chance to watch those.
People string around his neck just standing by the counter.
Wait.
And they're like, okay, so can you explain it? And you can hear him say in the background, he's like, yeah, I just wanted you guys to see it so you know it's there. And then the cop's like, all right, I mean, it's your place. You want us to turn the cameras off? Or they were like trying to be extra nice. And then before they asked to turn the cameras off, the cop was like, so are you gonna take that off? Talking about the noose, like.
What? That's the noose? Are you kidding me?
Yes.
Dude, that is... If they tried to lynch him with that, that would snap.
There's video cameras from the Uber driver that took the two brothers to the scene. They look like they're in hazmat suits. They're all dressed in white, or they're like snow troopers.
Alright, dude, this... How is this not a parody? Like, this has to be, like, an apps... Like, this sounds like a troll. Like, it's gonna come out later that this was a Jackass-style movie, and they were just playing a prank on everybody. Cause...
Sat around the apartment for 40 minutes, ate a sub sandwich, and left a piece of string around his neck, just so the cops could see it.
What? That's...
Did you find the car footage?
No, but I'm...
You gotta see the two guys sitting in the back.
That rope would snap. That could not hold.
That's not a rope. That's a piece of string.
What kind of noose is that? That's just gonna make someone.
For it at first, I thought it was a hoodie tassel or a little.
Yeah. That's not gonna support human. That's not gonna support your body weight. That's gonna snap, and then you're gonna breathe free. What kind of?
It's hilarious.
Maybe that kind of after that sort of thing, I think I kind of sympathize with dropping all charges. Kind of like, yeah, this guy's not. These guys probably have it bad enough without having this, not having to go to jail. I mean, seriously, they've probably had a pretty rough life being this stupid. I'm surprised they haven't like. If that's the level of competency, it's kind of like you're like, these guys are just lucky they haven't earned a Darwin Award yet. So maybe go easy on them. That's.
I posted a link to a.
Yeah, I kind of saw. Let me see. So that's a. Just.
That's the video, and it shows the two brothers. But yeah, they were like all dressed in white, like some kind of stormtrooper-looking hazmat guys. And I'm kind of wondering what the Uber driver was thinking. Like, where are you guys going at 2 in the morning? It's freezing outside. Why are you dressed like that? So maybe Jesse's gonna change his. Yeah.
What? Alright, Alright, so I can queue that up. Alright, let me actually show a bit of this video, because, dude, this is ridiculous. How is this? Alright.
Men had shouted racial and homophobic slurs at him and then ran off. Police
Okay.
then said Smollett staged the attack and he was
Yeah.
charged with filing a false report. But those charges were later dropped in exchange for community service, among other things. Special prosecutor will soon be appointed
No.
to look into
Alright,
fraud
maybe
and
I should have started a little
dropped
earlier.
the case. This is
Yeah, it's near the beginning.
InsideVision.com.
Like the first
Oh.
10-15 seconds of that video. It should have been on that Channel 5 page.
Oh, I guess that was the wrong video. Let's see. I think the video that you put up is not actually available. Ah, no, wait. What am I doing? Not yet. Too soon. Alright. Yeah, it actually was a redirect, so it went to a different video. Oh, there we go. Okay. Man.
Does it have an ad playing?
Yeah. Please wait till that ad times out. Man, I just gave away the surprise, though. Okay, yeah. Alright, let's... Oh, dude, this is ridiculous. This is... Like, this is the stuff you would see on a prank show. Not...
So you see the guys in the car?
Yeah.
Why are they dressed like that at 2 in the morning? What?
I mean, because there's a...
That's a good idea.
Because that's what white people look like. Remember? They're supposed to be MAGA hat-wearing Trump supporters who are white.
Oh, what was that movie? Murder by Numbers?
Yeah, where the two guys are in the full latex.
Around with like big white suits.
Yeah.
The way their DNA wouldn't get anywhere. It looks like they watched that movie and decided to dress like those guys.
Because that's not suspicious.
Can you drop us off here, sir? We're
Let's see. Yeah, and it's like, is that bleach and a noose? Oh wait, no, and some shoestring. not a noose. A noose is like.
That's 2 feet of rope.
possibly going to turn that into a hammock?
Now, two prosecuting government bodies that are reopening the investigation.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
The city of Chicago and the police force are just PO.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
$100,000 they're suing Justice Smollett to pay them back for all of the man hours and money wasted on this. And Kim Fox and I think she's going to be under investigation. And anybody associated with her, because she said she deferred the case because she was still, too close. She knew who Justice Smollett was, so she deferred it to her assistant or something like that. That's why it stayed in their office, and the case just got dropped. I'm like, that's not deferring the case. You didn't. It's still your office. That you're her boss. But all the lines that came out there, it seems like it should be fairly obvious when stories just start sounding a little too convenient or a little too out there.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is the not pressing charges. Like, oh, I want justice. I just don't want to pursue charges against the guys who did the thing.
That's the whole.
Yeah. Yeah. Like. So with the same thing with the E. Jean story, where I want justice, but it's too late. Oh, with statute of limitations, it's still. Well, I've been talking to lawyers, and they say it's not. So
probably the only true justice is if you guys buy my new book coming out.
Yeah, and then that'll really put the screws to Trump and stop him from winning in 2020. Nope, no, it's gonna be. It didn't work against Kavanaugh. It's not going to work against Trump. Because everybody who can look at that thing and like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Because even Anderson Cooper is kind of like, yeah, this is. Let's cut to commercial, right?
Yep.
So they are starting to see that, this is not the smoking gun that they were hoping, and everything that they've tried so far has not been the smoking gun they were hoping for.
Probably because there is.
Yeah, so they're
a sleazy New York businessman, but he stays within the law and he's good at making money. That's all you're gonna get.
All right, the last topic for the evening. Although the main thing I wanted to talk about was the Democrats and all that and the nonsense there. But the last topic we didn't get to earlier is Google situation. So Google was caught again. So all these social media companies are all, there's been evidence, and Project Veritas is tying this all together because they had released a document from, I can't remember if this one was from Google or Facebook, where they were banning ads and actually censoring content related to Ireland concerning abortion, because there is some kind of a referendum or something coming up, something in their politics, like within the next couple of months regarding that topic of abortion, and it's being heavily censored by these social media apps, and they've got documentation proving that. YouTube and Google shut down the Project Veritas evidence for that. Then they had a Google insider release documents, internal documents from Google. They've had a couple released so far. One where it was talking about people in Google labeling Shapiro, Prager, and Peterson, so Ben Shapiro, Dennis Prager, and Jordan B. Peterson as Nazis, saying that there was a insider video of one of the Google, one of the people behind Google's AI talking about how it was Google's job to prevent a Trump situation, another Trump situation in 2020, and one of the things she's talking about, Senator Warren has expressed the need to break up Google, and she's like, "Oh, I like Senator Warren, but that would be a problem because if this is broken up into smaller companies, they wouldn't be able to prevent a Trump situation." I'm like,
"That's not your job."
Yeah, I was like,
"Not even legal."
Yeah, and I was like, "That's the entire reason they want to break up Google, because you guys are trying to influence the election and trying to get your way." If you're broken up, that's kind of like exactly what. Yeah. That would be the entire reason to break you guys up.
Out of that is a fake dossier, which the DNC paid for.
Yeah.
And was asking for, and a couple of ads on Facebook that maybe a few hundred people to a few thousand people.
That didn't.
On their page.
Yeah. That's not what. Yeah, that's not what led Trump to winning. It was people like Mike Cernovich, people like Ann Coulter. It was legitimate sources who were giving actual talking points. Yeah. So they keep blaming it on those Russian ads and hackers, and I'm like, yeah, that's all nonsense. All that's irrelevant. That's where you like to say you guys lost.
The point is, they were so bent up about this Russia collusion, and yet there was no collusion. There's no contact found that shows any sort of collusion. The only thing they could find was that Russia bought some ads. Put on Facebook, which, like I was saying, was maybe a few hundred to a couple of thousand people that may have seen this ad. It wouldn't have swayed anything, and yet we've got the world's largest tech company purposely censoring.
Yeah, that's.
How is that not worse than a Russia collusion?
Magic? Google Magic.
I mean, that's millions and millions of people that use Google, and not just here, around the world. What information is being spread over to UK? What information is being spread to our allies that are talking back to our senators and our other government officials saying, hey, we can't have another situation. I heard this and this and this about Trump, or this and that.
Yeah.
That spreads further than the U.S. That's a global tech company that has fingers all around the world, and they feel they have the right to censor our potential electorates or the presidential race.
So the other thing is, their insider from Google also pointed out that the autocomplete, that is, when people search Google, like, hey, you type in a phrase or a word or a phrase, and Google tries to complete the rest of it for you. And they were showing that typing something into Google, you're getting search results that don't match what people are actually searching for. They're matching what Google wants people to look at and find. So the autocomplete is supposed to be like, hey, this is what other people are looking for. This is what other people have been. And some categories you can see that. But in particular, in categories that Google wants to influence or control things, they're modifying that. They're removing searches that you would think would be common and replacing them with their social justice stuff. And the insider talked about, this is a direct manipulation of this in the database, where they're going through like, okay, these are the search terms that we want to show up in autocomplete. They also... So the other thing about this is Project Veritas' video, the expose video, taken down from YouTube, taken down Reddit. It was the R. Donald page that was linking to this Project Veritas. That got shut down completely by Reddit. Instagram shut some stuff down. So it's kind of one of those things is Project Veritas has been tracked. It's like, our information was shut down on BitChute. They're like, we cannot get this out there to people. Even places that are supposed to be more free speech oriented, they're shutting down this. And you're like...
Really? On BitChute?
Yeah, BitChute. I was like, the BitChute surprised me. Reddit also surprised me. I was like, Reddit? Yeah, the place where people...
They pretty much allow anything on there.
But they shut it down, and they said it's because hate content or something like that was being... but people are looking at it as like, it's shut down, but you can still go and look at it. And the last thing that was on there, or the last things that people were talking about before it got shut down, was this Project Veritas stuff. We don't see any death threats or anything that would violate... It has to be... They didn't like this expose coming out. So Reddit and BitChute, the BitChute thing is also weird, because BitChute was supposed to be like this YouTube alternative that's, decentralized and torrents.
The platform is, we're not going to take your stuff down.
Yeah.
Unless it's illegal, but...
So, this sort of stuff went to Congress, and actually they brought in somebody from Google, and Crenshaw and Cruz were grilling them over this situation. And Senator Cruz has a YouTube page and has posted the Project Veritas video to his page. And James O'Keefe is calling YouTube like, what are you going to do now? You gonna
Cruz.
Yeah, you're gonna censor the YouTube content of a sitting U.S. senator and expect that to go unnoticed. All right, yeah, yeah, he's that's a bold move, and it yeah puts it directly in YouTube's like, yeah, how are you gonna explain this one away?
Check.
Yeah, that's it's check almost mate, but so and Project Veritas is coming. I mean, they say they got other information and they're trying to get that out there to people. More stuff that's going on behind the scenes. It's one of those things. Is
they're gonna have to go that route.
Yeah.
Put it all behind Senator Cruz because he's going to back them on that. This is stuff he's been passionate about for a while.
Yep.
And they need protection from just getting shut down.
Yeah.
Because if they even try and touch Cruz's account and shut it down due to hate speech and due to whatever, the government's going to step right in and say, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Don't censor our government officials.
Yeah, because, and well, the other thing is, so he's a lawyer before he became a senator. He knows, like, yeah, this is completely within the law. There's no hate speech in this content. I mean, he wouldn't back it otherwise.
They're not talking about hating anything.
Yeah. It's not a violation of privacy. It's not hate speech. It's not, and like he's got a team with him that's kind of like, yeah, there's nothing against Google's or YouTube's terms of service that this would violate if they're taking it down. Yeah, there's something else going on that's not on there. So the other thing is sometimes they've been citing privacy violations, which again they've made that clear. This video of this lady talking was taken in a state where it's single party consent. The person filming gets, yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the other person is unaware. Single party consent, only one person needs to know that a video recording is taking place. So there's no violation there. It's not a violation of her privacy. It's not doxing her because it's not releasing her address or her phone number, personally identified information. It's her talking. That is not doxing by anybody's definition, because that is something she was actively doing in a public place on her own. If you release your name, your address, your phone number in a public place, you can't claim somebody is doxing for putting that information online, because you release that information publicly. That's the thing, is when it becomes doxing, it's when you're taking two non-public or non-associated bits of information about someone and putting them together on a public forum when the individual involved did not put them together on a publicly available forum. That's doxing, is when you're taking two separate pieces of information. Like, okay, you might have your image and your name out there on YouTube, and then your phone number might be in a completely separate place on, some other social media site. Somebody taking those two bits of information and combining them, that's when it becomes doxing. But you've already made your image and your name and what you said public. That's not an invasion of your privacy if you're doing it in a public location, which is why the state, I think it was the video footage was from California, has that single party consent. It's like, yeah, this is something done in public. You don't get to rein that back in. The other thing is Google posted on Twitter, YouTube posted on Twitter that they don't have a bias, and you can see all the reactions to it. It's pretty hilarious to go through that thread of people responding like, yeah, sure. Okay, I'll believe that. Yeah, it's getting hard ratioed, because all of this is stuff that we've known. We've seen, people have been talking about this for forever. It's like, yeah, they're censoring, they're shadow banning, all that sort of thing. Now we have the proof to back up those suspicions. The things that we were certain they were doing, but we didn't have the insider to present us. Yeah, here's the docs from inside Google of where they're talking about this sort of thing. They are directly calling these people's Nazis. They have they had internal slogans, and one of the so this is something that just recently came out, like a couple of like maybe half an hour before we started streaming, where Project Veritas had another thing where there were internal documents in Google where they were having anti-Trump slogans that they were passing around internally to try, like, oh, if you want to, and so this is on an official level. This is not people passing around joke or meme emails. This is something that was a document produced by Google to help their employees. Like, oh, this is something you can do to fight back in a political way. That it's that sort of thing. So now we've got the proofs. So the thing is, Google has not denied any of these documents. Google has not said those are not legitimate internal documents. Instead, what Google and YouTube have come out, what their representatives have said, is, oh, those were taken out of context. Like, what context? What context could possibly make...
Context.
Yeah, provide the context if there's...
Because if they get taken to court
Mm-hmm.
and show that they were lying about it, that looks very badly on them.
Yeah, it's like...
Claim it, but
Yeah, if... So all they have stated is that it's taken out of context to mean... And they're like... But they don't give the context that would change the meaning. Nobody has come along and is like, oh, that's taken out of context. The situation is she was talking about this. And that statement within the context of this makes sense. And I'm like, but they haven't done that. They just said,
situation.
Yeah.
Need the full context on that.
They've said it was taken out of context, but they've never given the context that would make it mean something else.
Like all the context was there. She was talking
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
the election and how they lost. What
Yeah.
other context is there?
I don't know. Apparently there is, because that's what they're saying. They're not providing it. It's kind of like, that's the argumentum ad lapidem. It's just, oh, that's just ridiculous. Why is it ridiculous? No, it's just ridiculous.
It is. You should just know
That-
it's ridiculous.
Well, why? No, that's out of context. But why? Well, it's just out of context. You have to explain it. There's, you can't just dismiss something. So it's something, right? It's what was that? A bold claim without evidence can be dismissed without evidence, right? But this is a claim made with evidence. So in order to dismiss it,
Yeah, video evidence, document evidence.
any kind of evidence to support this is the actual context, and it was a joke. Okay, if it was like, oh, see, she wasn't serious. She knew she was being recorded, and she was just stringing up. Nothing like that. They just said, oh, it's just out of context. All right, that's all we need to say about that. Yeah, they are being caught red-handed repeatedly, and I'm glad Cruz is kind of backing them up on this and be like, yeah, this is legitimate. This is something we need to investigate. Right now, Google has those protections of being a platform, not a publisher, but they're taking these deliberate actions to curtail searches, to change what people get, to monitor the traffic. That's the role of a publisher. They no longer get the safety nets of being considered a platform if they're acting like a publisher. Oh, dude. Yeah, the second they're like, okay, you just lost your platform status, you are now a publisher. Oh, crap. You know what you can find with a Google search? Alright, all the executives from Google are being sued for child porn, for, there's, I don't know if you can find any, I think that might be more deep web stuff when you're talking about, assassinations and stuff like that, because that's something Silk Road was, but there's definitely child porn out there on Google, and that's, yeah, if they're a publisher, they're responsible for that. There's definitely terrorist videos, terrorist recruitment. Alright, Google, you're not just YouTube. YouTube and Google are responsible for this now.
Well, all the defamation suits.
Oh, yeah.
People are just putting out there, but now that's searchable through Google. They didn't filter any of that out, so
Yeah.
lots of lawsuits.
Yeah. That would Google, Google, that would cripple, man, that's sad that Google is that much, that would cripple Google and its parent company, ABC. ABC or ABCs? I forget. Alphabet? Is Alphabet the name of it? Okay, yeah, it's Alphabet. Yeah. Yeah, the Alphabet is the name of the company, right? Yeah. It's not American Broadcasting Company. Yeah, so Alphabet would be completely bankrupt if Google was treated like a publisher. So, my presumption of what's going to happen is all the Google executives who can be tied to this are going to get fired. All this nonsense is going to be rooted out because Alphabet doesn't want the lawsuit. They're like, no, we are a publisher, or we are a platform. We can't afford to be a publisher. knock this crap out. All these people are fired. They're going to be massive internal gutting as a result of this.
Hopefully that's the way it goes, because if they actually just get picked
yeah,
up,
and it's
I'm gonna have to start using Bing.
No, don't use Bing. Use DuckDuckGo.
DuckDuckGo.
Yeah, DuckDuckGo is there's also Brave, and I don't remember if Brave is a search engine or just a browser. So Brave and DuckDuckGo.
DuckDuckGo. That's not the green one, right? That's what they plant trees when you're searching or something.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't think so. No, DuckDuckGo is just the one that's like, we don't track your results at all. Yeah, we just don't track your your searches. You just search things. We're a search engine. DuckDuckGo and Brave. Brave, I think, is a browser, but not a search engine. And then you use Brave and DuckDuckGo. Hey, you're good. Although, personally, I still use Chrome and Google because they're easy.
It's easier and it's got most of the search results.
Yeah.
There's a lot of political stuff that's getting skewed.
Yeah, so when I actually start to care enough about this, I'll go full on with Brave and DuckDuckGo and make that my new norm. It's not currently my new norm because it's just not. And whatever. Too used to using Chrome and Google that's built into it. But if it comes to it, I'll switch over to those other things. Let's see.
There's one other thing I wanted to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we already talked about that, and that's what the tanker attacks by Iran.
Yeah.
But Ben Shapiro put out a tweet that was basically saying nobody wants to go to war with Iran, but we also need to, what is the phrase? Kind of like, hold the big stick. Subvert. It's not subvert. It's
intimidate.
It's like that.
Subdue.
Here, let me pull it. Oh, deterrence. So here's the actual tweet. No one wants war with Iran. He put them in points. That's point 1. Point 2. Deterrence is a valuable strategy in both preventing full-scale war and curbing aggression. 3. Deterrence requires the credible threat of disproportionate force. That's basically what a deterrence is.
Well,
right?
It would be a deterrent to them.
Confusion and vacillation undermine deterrence. He's basically talking about Trump's indecision to take some kind of action. So Paul Joseph Watson responded to that and said, you know what? I thought you were a decent guy. This is definitely along the lines of warmongering. Everybody needs to unfollow. I'm doing that right now. So my question is, does that sound like some sort of warmongering propaganda? Does Ben Shapiro come across as possibly like a Zionist, saying, yeah, we need to stay in the Middle East, we need to start attacking all these people because they're a threat?
He's said things in the past that are disproportionately in favor of Israel for no apparent reason. Yeah.
I mean, he's got a...
yeah. Well, yeah, but it's disproportionately pro-Israel and anti-Palestine.
Warmongering, saying deterrence is a valuable strategy, and the only way deterrence works is you have to have a bigger force.
It was like, because I am in full support of Trump being like, okay, it was just a drone, not worth 150 lives. Yeah, that's the appropriate decision. But you know what else is a deterrent? Not having our boats on the coast where Iran can mine them. Not having drones flying in an airspace where Iran can shoot them down. Why is that stuff anywhere close to Iran where Iran can do stuff to us? How about we just not have any of our stuff around Iran where they can get blown up by Iran?
But if Iran is seen as a potential threat, is it something we should be monitoring, at least in international airspace?
Yeah, we should be monitoring them, but why would we need drones flying in the area? Why would we need boats?
It was
like
international airspace.
Well, that's the claim. But it.
I guess, yeah, I can't prove that.
Yeah, that's the claim is it was international airspace, but why was that even in there? Even in international airspace?
Well, how else do you monitor?
Like, but we've got military bases that are in that area, like in the Middle East, where it's like, okay, that's close enough. Why do we need drones flying around? It's like, hey, if we want to keep tabs on Iran, we've got ground presences. We have people in Iran. There's an embassy. Maybe not an embassy in Iran. Actually.
Yeah, we do. It's the one with the gay pride flag at the top.
I was like, I know we've got embassies in that area. I don't know if there is one specifically in Iran. But we've got enough to keep track of them without putting military weapons, right? Because it's a drone or boat in the proximity. Now, if they're attacking random merchant ships from the U.S. or if they start attacking citizens, stuff like that, it's like, okay. But from what it sounds like, it's like, yeah, you put something militaristic next to Iran, they're like, hey, that's... Why are you guys spying on us? We're going to shoot you down. All right, that's like our bad. We shouldn't have been snooping. To me, that seems... it's very... Now, the question of whether Iran sees their action as defensive or not, or sees it as aggressive, I don't know. I'm kind of I'm pretty sure this is the Ron Paul take as well. It's like, yeah, why are we even close enough for them to shoot us? Why do we need anything around there? Just leave them alone. If they would be crazy warmongers, if they want to come after us, they're gonna have to cross an entire ocean to do that. We're going to see them coming a mile away.
Well, some people see them as wanting to develop a nuclear weapons program, and then they are wanting to use it. They do not like the U.S.
Yeah.
They're
so
very anti-American.
Yeah, and if that's the case, then, well, I mean, we still have the people who go over there and try to, that inspect them regularly from the UN and from the U.S. that, go in there and like, hey, what's your nuclear program? You're not building weapons, right? Now? Oh, by the way, you've had 6 months to prepare and hide anything in case you were making weapons. Yeah.
Are we still sending guys over there?
Yes.
I thought that was part of the deal, but we backed out. What was that, last May?
No, there's still people who... Yeah, there's still regular inspections, that sort of thing. I don't think that was the sole reason, because we gave them money. The nuclear deal... It's not like we backed off, now you can just do whatever. I think it was, hey, we're cutting off funds, we're not going to support you in this. We're still going to look at your stuff, though. Right? I don't actually know. Is it just like, oh, well, you got the money, now we're just going to walk away. We're cutting the deal off, so that means you get to keep whatever money we gave you, and we're also not going to inspect you. That seems like a big win for Iran, right?
Well, I know when we got out of the deal, we also put on heavier sanctions.
Yeah.
So now we're blocking like steel and copper and some other metal and exports, and put sanctions and say, hey, we don't want to see this stuff with our allies. You're not shipping that stuff out. But so I have heard reports, or I guess theories, that their economy is starting to become weakened to the point of where they're kind of getting a little frantic. And so they're starting to make a commotion and saying, you need to pick this deal back up. You need to start paying us again and get rid of these sanctions, or we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, or we might use the nuclear weapons that we secretly haven't been building this entire time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They say they've been at the heavy water cap and the I guess a plutonium cap. They're only allowed to have a couple of a certain amount in their possession.
Yeah, so we impose these sanctions, and now they're making threats. Those threats are meaningless. Well, so the thing is, the threats are meaningless if they have been following the rules. If they haven't been following the rules, the threats are meaningful, but that means the entire purpose of the trade deal was meaningless. So, so then why should we have been doing it in the first?
Guy's name Mohammed.
Yeah.
Ziaf. I can't remember, someone with a Z. But one of the main guys who went over to negotiate this deal in 2015, and after it was done, and someone was asking him comments, and he's like, "Well, no official agreement was met." Like, they sat down, and he's like, "Okay, fine, we got this deal," and he walks out, and he's like, "Nah, nothing was official. We're ignoring that." That was basically his comments, like right after.
Yeah.
To them, it's kind of just a yes man thing, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if that was the case, then we should have never. Yeah, the deal should have been ended a while ago, and I don't know why we kept up the charade. So it seems like no matter what we did in this situation, Iran wins. Either we keep the deal and they keep secretly developing a nuclear weapon, or we impose sanctions and like, okay, that secret weapon that we weren't supposed to be using or weren't supposed to be delegating, all right, now we're going to use it as a threat against you. It's like, okay, they win either way. But
the issue that we're going to run into is, in the U.S., even if you're an atheist or you're, whatever, we don't have any specific religious denomination, we don't want to go out and conquer other countries. That's not a goal of the United States. We're not a terrorist organization. We have no need or desire to go harm anybody. But if you're an Islamic nation and you do have any sort of extremists that have any sort of power, your goal is to wipe out the infidels. That is your mission in life. It's not a mutual, hey, you leave us alone, we'll leave you alone, you U.S. Americans go do whatever you want, we'll practice our religion over here. If they do have any extremists, which is why they would want to constantly...
I think you're using if pretty liberally there. You mean, because it's not an if. They do have. It's not an if. It's, yeah, they definitely do.
I can't say 100% sure, but I'm like 99.9% sure most of the government officials are extremists. They hate the United States. If they could blow us away, they would. So if they get to a point where they can, I think they would. They would try.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure...
Situations where it's like, stop picking on the Middle East. It's kind of like, you need to keep an eye on this guy, because that's the guy that's going to be a mass shooter. We see signs. We see them wanting to plan something, and as long as we keep an eye on them, we can all be safe. As soon as we walk away and say, oh, we're good, then we have a mass shooting, or a mass bombing, or a mass whatever.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really difficult for Iran to do anything to the U.S., considering the entire Atlantic Ocean between us, and then some countries as well.
Yes, but they also said after that 2015 Iran deal that they're going to continue to supply weapons and support to whoever they want. Their intent is to continue supplying weapons to whoever can get the stuff over.
Unless they are sending those weapons to Canada or Mexico. So the Mexico thing, maybe? Although...
They just pulled in a group of Syrians trying to cross the southern border. People from the Middle East are going to South America and walking up with the migrants.
Yeah, getting a nuclear weapon into Mexico, though, I don't think we're quite at the point where we've got Metal Gears or suitcase nukes.
Suitcase nukes have been around since the 90s. I saw them. Mission Impossible and whatnot.
Yeah, this suitcase nuke doesn't make... They have mobile nuclear devices, but the suitcase nuke is not an actual, there's rumors that Russia has it, but that doesn't make any logical sense considering the minimum size that a bomb would have to be to create an atomic reaction. It's not going to fit in a suitcase. If you've seen the size of these rockets, it's not all rocket fuel. The size of the bomb is actually noticeably large. If you have a suitcase nuke, it's still going to be fairly large, and if it's that small, it's not going to create a large explosion anymore. You would probably end up creating a larger explosion with a pressure cooker type situation, just because you can get more...
Iran was still allowed to do rocket development.
Yeah. So it's
just the nuclear capacity
we
can monitor.
So as far as all that goes, we probably should have done this. If we were at all serious, we would have years ago completely overtaken Canada and then completely overtaken Mexico, and then be like, okay, all of North America belong to us. All we have to do is protect this little narrow thing at the bottom of Mexico, and then we got our coastlines. And nobody wants to go through the top because it's frozen. Good luck making it through there. Alright, we just got coastlines. Alright, we're good. Not gonna happen. Not.
I would be for that.
I was like, yeah, if you're.
Worry about a Mexican border crisis, just cut it off.
Hey, we got this. Hey, we don't need this $1 billion wall across Mexico border. All we need is this. Hey.
Merge in, and all you drug cartels.
Actually, we'd probably go all the way to the Panama Canal because that's what we really wanted. It's like, okay, Panama Canal's ours. All right, there we go.
Yep, we control all the trade.
We all of North America belong to us. We're protected. We got pretty. It's kind of yeah.
Gonna do something about the drug cartels and get rid of all that nasty business.
Man, we can't get rid of the drug cartels in Detroit. We can't get rid of the drug cartels in Washington, D.C. Look at the gang violence there. You're like,
yeah,
Chicago, Detroit, and D.C. And you're just kind of like, Mexico is really bad. I'm like, I don't know. Have you seen these Democrat-run cities?
Yeah,
I don't know.
They supply most of it. That's where a lot of the supply.
Yeah.
And then it's the distribution up north.
Yeah. So yeah, if we could, like. That's all hypothetical. I really hope it doesn't come to that. But if you're looking at the country, I mean, if you're looking at it from their perspective of all defense, that's kind of like setting up a risk board and taking over Australia, and then it's like, hey, all you got is this. Good luck, good luck getting through Siam. It's kind of like setting up the risk board like that. It's like, okay, we've got all of our border. Now all we have to do is worry about this one little narrow strip of land, and we got a Panama Canal between us. Good luck getting all your forces across that.
So, yeah, but yeah, I was just wondering about that. 'Cause I'm mixed feelings on that tweet. Is there a need to show, not really aggression, but a giant oppositional force?
No, wait, that's the thing. They know we have a giant. We've got enough nukes to destroy the entire world 2 times over. What more of a show of force do we need? Like, we dropped the mother of all bombs in Syria.
Would be better just to pull out. Is that right?
Yeah.
Guys, and your brother will goodbye.
Yeah. Enjoy your side of the world. If you guys threaten us, or we think you're threatening us, well, we're not going to drop a nuke on you. We're going to drop a Moab. We're going to drop all the Moabs, and your country just ceases to exist. We're the largest military in the world. If we pick a fight with Iran, Iran doesn't win. Iran might do some damage. We don't know. The odds of them setting off a nuclear device in the U.S. or even in one of our major allies like the U.K. or actually more than likely they'd probably be able to do something to England or the EU. But the odds of them attacking the U.S. Well, Israel, I think, has its own defense system. If they're launching any kind of missiles, yeah. If their nuclear device requires a rocket to reach Israel, I don't think they get there.
Pretty decent Air Force.
Yeah, I don't think that succeeds on Iran's part. Now, if they sneak one into the country through tunnels or some kind of something or other, that's a different story.
I think they're getting fairly impenetrable. They're building a second wall.
Yeah. I think Israel's...
Commenting on that, like, why are we still sending money? We don't even have our first wall.
Yeah. I don't know why we're sending money their way. They seem to be pretty good. And as long as they're like, hey, we'll back you up in a war, but we don't need to continually support you because you guys are good, right?
And one last question on that. So, I think this is kind of a mix of old school Christianity and maybe Zionism as to why the U.S. has been such a huge ally with Israel. But what are your thoughts? Is that even necessary? Are they kind of like that friend that borrows a little too much and doesn't really give back? says, man, what kind of friend are you? Why can't you spare a little of your lunch again today? You know, you've been giving me half your lunch money for years. Why are you stopping today? What kind of friend is that? Are you ally? And is that something still worth supporting, or should we back off and say, okay, you guys are set. We're still here. You get in trouble, we'll back you up. But you need to take care of your business now. You're your own country.
Yeah, it's from what they're completely independent. They don't need us. We are
spending billions of dollars over
there. I don't know.
So
if people want to donate, which there are a lot of Christians who would do that, I don't know why we're sending taxpayer dollars over there. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever to me.
Perspective, is that something that we're supposed to be doing?
I have from a Christian perspective, based on the Bible, it does say that we'll be rewarded for protecting God's chosen people. Although that no longer applies because they're no longer God's chosen people. That was expanded to everybody. That's the entire book of Acts is describing that expansion of God's chosen people is now anybody who chooses his kingdom, not just the Jews. So that entire mentality doesn't apply anymore. So I don't know why it's the Israel and the Jews are some special God. Have you guys not read the New Testament? That's there were Jews who were the bad guys, there were Jews who were the good guys, and there was all of the Gentiles who were added together, and there was all of
I was just trying to get another perspective.
From my perspective, is the U.S.
We remain allies.
Allies, yes, because they're one of the.
Come after you guys, that means they're coming after us too. But you've got plenty of money, you've got your own Air Force, you've got your own military, you got Krav Maga. Just recognize out and kick some butt, and if you need some help, we're here. But otherwise, we need our money.
Yeah, I don't think we need to keep giving. I think we've got a good relationship with Israel. We just, hey, you guys don't need any more of our support. You guys are independent. You guys can do it on your own.
What is that, APAC? Anytime there's discussions of decreasing the amount of U.S. funds, then, what's that guy's name? The Yahoo guy. I can't ever pronounce his full name.
Netanyahu?
Yeah. Isn't he like a prime minister or something there?
Yeah, he's prime minister.
But then he's always like, he makes it sound like,
if you don't give us funds, we're gonna get destroyed and we're gonna wiped off the map?
Yeah.
No.
As if we stop giving them money, they will cease to exist and we're no longer gonna be allies. And so it's dependent on their existence that we continually give them billions of dollars a year.
So there's two parts of that. There are a lot of Jews in New York and Washington, and they all support Israel. And it's like, what? They're the ones controlling the votes,
then they
funneling money to Israel. What? It definitely seems like Israel's taking advantage of the U.S.'s natural generosity in our political system, because there are Zionist Jews in the U.S. who are showing support for Israel. I'm kind of like, well, you're here, you're in our positions of power. Why are you making decisions that are in Israel's best interest over the U.S.'s best interest? That's because the same thing with Ilhan Omar. She gets to be a member of Congress, and she's got, the middle.
Very pro-Somali, anti-U.S.
Yeah, and you're like, but she's only luckily she's only one. Imagine there's a whole group that have similar sentimentalities, and then
if they can start their own super PAC, invest their own money there, and there's no government influence, they can go send that money back to Israel, but it's not tax deductible.
Yeah, but they won't do that.
That got generated here. That was part of our GDP. That was U.S. money. If you're sending it, you're still paying taxes on it.
Yeah, but they'd rather go through the political system.
And support if you want to support Israel.
Yeah, they'd rather take advantage and then send that money via tax dollars, so it doesn't actually come out of their budgets.
And I'm being forced to pay for another country that, fine, we're allies, no issues.
Yeah.
Israel's a great place.
Yeah, we'd support them the same way that we support the other. But Israel needed it at first, but they've been stable and independent for over a decade. they shouldn't need our continued support anymore. I don't. Yeah, it's right now. It's taking advantage of our generosity, like the.
But that's what it's.
Well, I don't want to make. I'm trying to draw an analogy that isn't quite personal, but it's like somebody who's down on their luck, and then a family member invites them into the house, and then that person gets on their feet and then is doing well, and then stays months or years longer than you expected. And they're going out and buying a brand new expensive car, and you're like, wait a minute, we brought you here so you can get back on your feet, but okay, you just bought a brand new car, like not a used car, not a car within your budget. You went over your budget on a car, and you're buying all these expensive stuff. Wait a minute, why are we still helping you out and giving you the spare room? It's that type of situation. And you're like, okay, at some point you overstayed your welcome. All right, if you're spending money on all these fancy things, you don't need our support anymore. Go fly, be free.
I mean, that's what it seems like.
GTFO.
If you bring up something like that, then you're considered anti-Semitic.
Yeah, and it's that same house guest who'll be like, "Oh, I can't believe you're kicking me out. What do you hate me?" Like, dude.
As soon as you go out and stand on your own 2 feet and realize you can do it on your own, you're gonna feel much better. You are an independent country.
And I would hope, but there's still a lot of Republican support for Israel, and like anytime again when he comes out with the sob story, oh, you want us to get blown off the face of the earth, and oh, if you don't support us, we're gonna all get evaporated. And then there's Republicans who are like, I can't believe it. Oh, I'm so sorry. We do have to give you billion. There's a whole bunch of conservatives and a whole bunch of that buy into that, and will buy the sob story of the person who like, dude, you're taking advantage of our system. Just stop taking advantage of us. We're cool. We could just cut the ties right now. But if you keep,
just get the hell out.
Yeah, we're still friends. We just can't support you anymore.
Can't stay here.
Yeah, we'll still hang out. We'll still attend the parties together. We're still good. We'll still hang out at the UN. We'll still, hey, anybody picks on you, we still got your back. Okay. We're just not going to keep forking out child support payments.
Yeah.
So, yeah, anyway. So, I think we covered everything I had, and man, I can't believe it's already almost 10. So, one last thing. We'll end it on a little more of an upbeat note, and unfortunately, this was visible earlier. I don't know if, the context, or I don't think it was actually playing it when it was on the screen earlier. Why is this not going full screen? There it goes.
Oh God.
So I'll make this full screen and play this little clip. So, last week we talked about agorism and how those people view cops and all that sort of thing. And I saw this video and I was like, yes, this is exactly the type of thing that those people hate. Clear evidence of police brutality and abusing the system. So you might want to switch over and listen to the audio on this.
Oh God.
I say that as it doesn't actually play audio. What's going on here? Ah, what's going on? Play the audio.
Okay. Thank you for your license and fine. License, registration.
Oh, I can't hear it at all. Let me see. Is that actually coming through on the other end, though? Man. I can see it there.
Nope, I'm not hearing it on the stream.
I don't believe this is a laughing matter. Yes. This is not funny.
I'm seeing something being picked up by the speaker.
Okay. Thank you for your
You're saying
license.
it's not playing at all on the stream? Man.
Have a good day.
Stupid technical
Okay, bye-bye.
difficulties.
Bye-bye.
Oh, never mind. I think it's just really quiet.
Alright, let me... I can't hear it at all. It's not coming through my speakers at all.
License, registration, proof of insurance, please.
So, let me see.
You don't have a driver's license. I don't believe this is
But yeah,
This is
you can
not
see the baby in the car. Read the caption at the top.
Yeah.
your license and bond.
Well, it's pretty cute. He's asking for a license and registration and all that sort of thing. And that's actually his daughter. It's a cute video. Unfortunately, the audio isn't playing, but yeah, and he lets her go with just a warning. And I guess I don't know if you saw my little response to it at the bottom. There was like I sent to one of those agorist people who was like, "Oh, cops are gonna shoot me," and I'm like, "Oh man, it's lucky somebody was filming this, because otherwise he was looking for any excuse to pull out that gun and just started firing, right?" What? Oh, and I'm getting reverb. Gotta stop that. Yeah, anyway. So that was kind of a little poking fun at those people who were like, "Oh, cops just so evil. There's nothing good about them. All they do is enforce bad." I'm like, come on. It's a cute video released by the Orlando police. It's just a guy after work pulls home, sees his daughter in the driveway, turns on the lights, and pretends to pull her over for breaking the law, driving on the wrong side of the road. And the little girl just laughs, and then he's okay. I'll let you go with the warning. It's cute. Anyway, it's one of the little uplifting thing. It's frustrating that the audio wasn't playing for me, or at least not on the stream either. All right, but I think that's all I have. So again, it's Thursday, unfortunately, because I've had work things conflicting with my schedule, and at least tonight I had a bit of a break. But hopefully next Tuesday we should be back on schedule. From what I understand, is the issue I was dealing with at work will be resolved by tomorrow, which means next week should be back to regular standard work week instead of working nights trying to get somebody to do their job. Alright, thanks for anybody who did tune in. I didn't see anybody in the chat, but if anybody does come back and watch this, see you next Tuesday. And on that note, we are out of here.